Hello, I'm Mike Morris at the University of Notre Dame, and this is one of our 3 times a year webinars hosted by the Global Partnership for Poverty and Entrepreneurship. GPPE is a network of people around the world. We have over 500 um, members. It's free to join, but it is about sharing resources among people who are committed to entrepreneurship as a solution to disadvantage to poverty. Um, we host 3 of these webinars a year on special topics that are at the leading edge in terms of how to increase the success rates of entrepreneurship and venture creation amongst those who face unique struggles in trying to get a business up and running and to sustainability. Um, this particular panel is a very special one because while we normally talk to scholars and experts around the world, um, this time we're sort of going to the horse's mouth. We're going to talk to entrepreneurs and to learn from their journeys and their experiences. I want to take just a couple minutes to establish some foundation or some background for the conversation that we're about to have. Um, so I'm going to share some slides. Um, see if I can do this. And so I think an important predicate to this conversation is this emphasis on the idea that when we think of poverty and disadvantage, it's not a characteristic of a person, but a characteristic of their circumstances and their situation. And so the question is, what can we do about their circumstances and their situation um, to enhance their potential to be what they can be, to do what they can do? The evidence is pretty disconcerting. In developed economies, we're seeing a consistent, for over 60 years, level of poverty. America alone, there are 45 million people in poverty and disadvantaged circumstances, and those numbers are probably understated. Um, in developed countries, minorities often have poverty rates that are 2 to 3 times what the national average is. The gap between those that have and those that have not is only getting bigger despite trillions of dollars of expenditure. Globally, over 1/5 of the world's population is living in poverty conditions. 10% live in extreme poverty of less than $1.90 a day in earnings. For every 1,000 children born, 39 will die before they're 5 years old. And a third of the global population lives in a slum. And so the question is entrepreneurship a solution? Is the creation of ventures a meaningful way out of disadvantage, poverty? I think the conversation starts with how we think about entrepreneurship. Conventional perspectives is that it's about starting a business, that it's recognizing and capitalizing on opportunity, or more formally, it's the process of creating value through unique resource combinations to capitalize on some kind of opportunity in the marketplace. I think it's more useful to think of entrepreneurship as empowerment. And that word is overused and abused, but the idea that one is creating her own job, her own identity, her own future, her own wealth, her own sense of pride, her own sense of identity. her own facilities and operations, her own ability to create jobs for others who come from disadvantage, her own ability to give back to their community. And that entrepreneurship is about transformation, transforming oneself, transforming one's family, transforming one's neighborhood and one's community, transforming local markets and local economies. When we think about poverty and disadvantage, it's not simply a lack of income. It's a complex mosaic. It's an experience of everything from substandard housing and food scarcity to physical insecurity and crime to single parenthood and high rates of teen pregnancy, higher than well above average rates of school uh, leaving the school dropout. It's about constant fatigue and stress. It's often a lack of entrepreneurial role models, limited social networks, social exclusion, and the list goes on. And so the question becomes, when you come from disadvantage, when you come from poverty, how does it affect the ability to build a sustainable business? And our experience has suggested that all entrepreneurs obviously face obstacles. It goes with starting a venture. But when you come from disadvantage, you face additional obstacles. And we identify the four critical additional obstacles that a person from disadvantage has to overcome. The first of these has to do with literacy gaps. And so, and that's not simply reading and writing and numeracy, it's technological literacy, it's financial literacy, it's economic literacy, it's business literacy. Disadvantage is a circumstance where I lack choices and I have to focus on immediate decisions and trade offs between immediate decisions, making it harder to think strategically. It's hard to put together 5 years of projected financials when I'm trying to make a decision of whether to pay the rent or pay a doctor's bill, which creates what we call a scarcity mindset, a more short-term orientation. The ability to focus on the business is compromised by a lot of non-business distractions, whether that's health issues, whether that's food issues or housing issues or crime issues or what have you. And then the lack of a safety net. I typically don't qualify for conventional debt or equity investment. I am using retained earnings, but there's not enough money to put back into the business because of what I need to take out of the business. I may not have any kind of health coverage, health insurance. So there's no safety net, which makes me behave in a more conservative kind of way. So these have important implications in terms of what kind of opportunities I recognize, the kind of ventures I start, my ability to access community resources in the local so-called entrepreneurial ecosystem, my ability to plan, the kind of returns I'm able to generate for the business, such that a lot of the businesses started by people from disadvantaged circumstances fall into what we call the commodity trap. These are businesses where it's harder to differentiate the business. It tends to be more labor intensive. I can't afford equipment and technology, so my capacity is constrained. Many of these entrepreneurs will tend to underprice. They have to buy in smaller quantities, so they can't buy at wholesale. So they're buying at retail to sell at retail. They don't have bargaining power with customers, with suppliers, with distributors. And so it becomes a trap where the margins are low and the volumes are low. And the challenge is how to break out of that commodity trap. The entrepreneurs we have with us today have all done that, have all been able to do that, to overcome the challenges of the commodity trap. it raises the question, how can communities best support these entrepreneurs in creating sustainable businesses, businesses that can grow, businesses that can create jobs? The entrepreneurs with us today have been exposed or part of the Urban Poverty and Business Initiative, which is a annual 10 and a half month program that works with entrepreneurs and takes them through a series of stages of training, mentoring, consulting. It has 6 key components to it. But what's unique about the approach is its emphasis on a stepwise methodology, 80 steps to a sustainable business, taking one step at a time. And so let's meet our entrepreneurs with us today, and we're so blessed to have them with us. Uh, Entrepreneurs who have created something sustainable uh, in different parts of the world, facing different kinds of obstacles. With us first is Jucara Aquino, the founder of Jupiter Tours. Jucara is from Brazil. Second is Simon Moketsky Kachuma, the founder of Cat Lego Landscaping in South Africa. Third is Yashidhara Nagendrapa, the founder of Ace Futura Nature Tech Solutions in India. Evans Aranatwe, the founder of Evans Prosperity Farms in Uganda. Andrew and Lisette Pittman, the founders of Condor Media in San Diego in the United States. And LaQuisha Jackson, the founder of Soulful Kitchen in the USA. And so a warm welcome to these actually 7 entrepreneurs, because we have a husband and wife team. I'd like to start off the conversation. So let me stop sharing so that we can see your faces. I'd like to ask each of you, each of our entrepreneurs, if you would tell us a little bit about the business that you run and what motivated you to start it. Um,
Hello, I'm Jussara. I'm from Brazil. Jupiter Tour promote cultural connections through tourist experience in Rio de Janeiro City, specifically in Rocinha favela, where I came from, bringing job and income generation. I dedicated myself working with tourism since 2016 because it was a way for me to create connection with people from all over the world, and of course to create my to show my beautiful city for them. And I decided to open my business to show for the world the potential of the favelas, especially Rocinha. That's a beautiful place with strong people, and it's more than what the media talk about. You know, that's the criminals, troubles, and so on. Favela, it's a revolution of dreams and resilience. And one of my experience, it's favela walking tour with a local guide. It's an immersive experience where I can share the history of favelas, how is our culture inside it, and the reality that the media don't talk about. 90% of my clients that book that experience are people from outside Brazil. It's very interesting. And I would like to expand a little bit about the name of my company, the meaning of my company's name. So Jupiter Tour, Jupiter is the biggest planet on Earth, and I love things related to spirituality and universe. And Jupiter in the astrology means expansion, luck, growth, and opportunities. And that is what my life is about.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Jucara, thank you so much for that introduction.
You're welcome.
And Simon, do you want to tell us about your business and why you started it? Simon?
Mute
Sure, we
quickly.
There he is.
Either can you hear me now? Yes,
Yes.
pardon me. Yes, my name is Simon from South Africa. I run a business called Katlego Landscaping Masters. Katlego is a Sotho word meaning success or to be successful. The reason I started the landscaping business, I've noticed that around South Africa, there was a huge gap between the township presentation in terms of studying horticulture and landscaping. So it's mainly the more affluent or more white people that are more into horticulture and landscaping. So I saw a gap and I saw an opportunity to employ more of the township to represent the township people, train them, and then make sure that they can, be able to support their families and then support themselves as well. So at Katlego Landscaping, we do the following. We do landscape designs, whereby we do the designs of like shopping malls, casinos, hotels, stadiums, and so forth. We also do landscaping installation, where we do the actual landscaping, where we do planting and so forth. We also do irrigation designs, repairs, as well as the maintenance. And then our main focus is to create employment, like I said, and especially amongst the township. And then with South Africa, with this high employment rate, the gap is huge. So we need more of the Katlego landscaping to be able to assist in terms of employment and eradicating poverty, as well as dealing with the crime issue that we currently facing now because of the rate of employment. Thank you.
And Simon, I take it that some of your success is tied to the fact that you provide these landscaping services both to households and to businesses. Is that correct?
That's correct. But lately, our main niche is mainly B2B and then B2G. The B2G is business to government. That's what I call it. We've noticed that for us to be able to sustain our business, we need to have sustainable contracts. And the sustainable contracts, you can only get it from B2B. Hence, we're more into B2B and then B to government. So we're more into the tendering system. And then that's what has been working for us. And then that's what has been more sustainable for us to be able to create more employment.
Okay. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And Yashadhara,
thanks.
You have a fascinating story that has grown to quite a few products. Could you tell us a little bit about your business and why you started it?
Professor Morris, Yashodhara is, Suzanne, can you add her? She's right now as an attendee. The bottom last.
Well, let's fix that problem.
By the time you go ahead, yeah, please.
Okay. So Evans, what tell us about Evans Prosperity Farms in Uganda?
Mike, I think Evans dropped off perhaps because of his connection. I'm trying to contact him. So if you move on to the next person.
Let's go to Andrew and Lisette. What does Condor Media do, and what motivated you to start it?
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. My name's Andrew, and this is Lisette. We are Condor Visual Media. Forgot to add that missing word in there, but that's okay. It happens often. So I am from the Los Coyotes Indian Reservation, which is one of 18 federally recognized tribes here in San Diego, California. Within the United States, San Diego County has the highest density of tribal nations in the whole country of the United States. So here with 18 sovereign tribal nations, we have a mix of people, which are the Kumeyaay people, the Luiseño people, the Cupeño people, and the Cahuilla people. What we do is we do video production, mostly focusing on oral history projects for preservation needs. And we also do highlight videos for events. And the way that we see things is that today is tomorrow's history. And so as we're still collecting history from encroachments throughout the past 200, 300 years, we're regaining some of that knowledge, ancestral knowledge. And doing that, we're protecting today's knowledge as well. We've had the good opportunity to build a lot of relations and to preserve a lot of this knowledge for our tribal communities here.
But why
And
entrepreneurship? What led you to take the leap and start this Condor Visual Media?
well, it just came with many different factors. One being seeing a need in my community for documenting these events that we're doing, this cultural revitalization, language revitalization. Um, One of the tribes here in San Diego, the Kumeyaay Nation, there are only 30 fluent speakers of our original language, Ipe'a, and that's binational. That's in California and in northern Baja California, or Baja Mexico. And so the need for that opportunity was to be able to preserve those languages, and to do it in a sustainable way where we see that not only are we benefiting our family and growing in that nature of our business, but we're also employing tribal nations people, and they're learning at the same time. So they're able to be exposed more to their communities to which they were not before.
And something too that I would add, that videography and photography are our personal passions. And so when we saw the need in the community for those opportunities, they kind of went hand in hand together, where we started a business based off our passion, which relayed with the community as well.
Well, thank you, Andrew and Lisette. And I've seen a video that you made for Alex and Teresa for the program out in San Diego, and it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, certainly. I don't know if Yashidera was able to join us.
We're still working on it, but Evans is with us right now.
Evans, could you tell us a little bit about your business and why you started it? I'm not seeing Evans here. Let's go ahead.
Hey, can you hear me?
He's here. He's here.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Could you tell us about your business and why you started it, Evans?
All right. My name is Evans Naitwe. I come from Uganda. And basically, my business is Prosperity Farms, where I venture in 3 projects. That is poultry keeping, goat rearing, and piggery. My motivation is to empower communities through sustainable entrepreneurship and agricultural development. Because here in Uganda, the largest percentage of people, actually approximately 80%, depend on agriculture for their survival. So I believe that if I can come up with the best practices in agriculture, I can help very many people to develop. Thank you.
Thank you, Evans. And I'm sorry for the connection challenges. LaQuisha? Hello to you.
Hello.
Can you tell us a little bit about your business? I guess you have 2 businesses in effect. And what motivated you to pursue entrepreneurship?
What motivated me to pursue entrepreneurship was I worked a job for 16 years, already struggling, coming from poverty. And once I lost that job, I realized I didn't want to give my life to an employer anymore, basically. So with that, I started Soulful Kitchen, and I told myself I wanted to start a catering company. I didn't realize that I was going to maximize my potential and do other things. As far what I mean by that is educating foodies and helping foodies who come from adverse situations to start a small food business, to get certified in culinary and all those sorts of things. So Soulful Kitchen is basically an organization that cooks for a cause. We cook to help people get jobs, employment, come out of poverty, all those things.
And LaQuisha, you have grown this catering business quite impressively. I know you're one of only 4 certified vendors to serve the University of Notre Dame campus. But beyond the catering, you have a passion for feeding people who don't have food, don't have good nutrition. So you have a parallel business that's a nonprofit. Could you tell us about that?
Yes, Hope for the Hungry is a nonprofit organization that I launched in 2020. We combat poverty and build self-sufficiency. And we do that a number of ways. We have a food pantry, we have a pop-up pantry where we go to urban communities and feed families, but we also have an educational piece. We educate people on how to navigate themselves out of poverty by pretty much exposing it or making it aware. A lot of times when poverty is generational and it's passed down through the family line, you don't actually realize that it's poverty. So you got to have that aha moment. And that's what we do. We bring awareness to that.
When you say you don't realize that it's poverty, what do you mean?
It becomes the norm. So struggle, stress, hardship, sickness, lack, running out of food, you know, having trouble paying your bills, it becomes the norm and it becomes a conversation in the homes of those who are in poverty. To the point that even, you know, when children grow up and it's time for them to move out the home, that the struggle that the children are enduring. For example, parents may say, I had 2 conversations yesterday with 2 different parents. My kids live on their own, but they still need help with this. They need help with food. They need me to drive them here. They need me to drive them there. So it's generational. It's still flowing generation down that family line. And so for the children now, who may be 25, 30, their experience is poverty and it's the norm to them because this is what mama endured and this is what grandmother endured. So that's what I mean by that.
I understand, and that certainly makes a lot of sense. And did Josh O'Hara manage to join us?
Mike, we are working on that, but maybe Samuel can just share a little bit before we try to get her online.
Samuel, could you tell us about Yoshihira's business?
Yeah, so I can quickly brief you about what Yashodra's business she's been doing and how she came about and how she grew. So basically, she started her whole entrepreneurial journey through a whole spectrum of how to do a research and study on herbal products. And once she studied the herbal products, she realized that the need for getting every herbal product to the consumer at a very realistic price and a very reasonable price. So that's when she started trying 2 to 3 products, basically cosmetic ranges. And once she started her journey into the business, she started having a lot of demand and grew her business all throughout. And with the support of VACT, so VACT is one of the organization through Entrepreneurship Development Institute in India, where we mentor them and grow them and nourish them and create a business portfolio for them to grow. So that's where we brought them together and to teach them how an entrepreneurial journey looks like. And we help them also identify the statutory compliances, their businesses, the models, and basically they grew their business from around $20,000 rupees in Indian rupees, and all the way right now they're making around per month. That is per month they're making around 1 lakh rupees. So that is the growth that they have made on a monthly based turnovers. And now she is also having a range of products, which is around 100 cosmetic products, which are all herbal and natural, which are made out of her backyard and sold to the community itself. And this all this is through word of mouth and through basic digital platforms which they are sharing their products on. So this is little about Yashodhara.
Thank you, Samuel. It's very helpful. I hope she can join us soon. So when you come from disadvantage and you don't have access to conventional sources of money, what are some of the keys to succeeding when you're severely under-resourced? and I'll just let any of you jump in where you feel comfortable talking about the topic. But the question I'm asking is, when I start um, without resources, and I can't just go to a bank or get other sources of investment, um, what are some of the keys to making a success out of a business?
Okay, Prof, I'll jump in quickly. Yeah, with me, wow, we started, I didn't have any money to start the business, but I only had hope and vision. So the hope carried me, and then I had to source out who can assist me with my vision to be able to accomplish the vision. So I had a friend who was a teacher who just retired as a teacher. And then I had a friend who was into landscaping business. So I convinced them to be able to help me start the business together because I knew I could manage to get clients. So they combined the money, and then out of the money, we managed to buy our first pickup buggy, of which I contributed nothing because I had nothing. It was only the vision that I had and the confidence and the belief that we can make things happen. So we bought our first pickup buggy. Because of my background, when I was still a student, I used to work at the nursery,
A buggy is a
selling
truck,
plants
right?
and so forth.
Simon,
Yeah, a buggy, a truck, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, a pickup truck. That's correct, yes. Yeah, so with my background that I had of having worked at a nursery as a student horticulturist, I was exposed to meet the clients that loved gardening. So when we started the business, after convincing the two guys, I managed to go tap into those clients that used to go to the nursery to buy plants. And then I gave my pamphlets to the nursery information desk. So everybody that came in there will go and get the pamphlets of what we do. So that's how we get to start the business without any proper advertising, without any money, using the money from friends. And it's just unfortunate today they're not here because they didn't share the same vision as mine. But it's just people that wanted to be business. So it helped me to start. And then at least now, 19 years later, we're still operating. So it's not about money, it's about what you think, and it's about believing and making sure that you get the right people around you to start with.
Okay.
So yeah.
Anybody
that's
else?
how we started.
I can share a little bit about ourselves about that. For us, we were two former tribal government employees. And so from there, through our jobs, our former jobs, we were exposed to the community and were able to build our network to see the need to take our personal passions and turn them into a business. You want to chime in?
Yeah, in 2019, Lisette and I were both working for my tribe, Los Coyotes, and she was the education coordinator, and I was doing environmental education. And I think that's where the education comes into it, is that we saw this dire need for educating not only our own tribal communities, but our outside non-native communities on who we are and that we still exist within San Diego County. But in 2019, we saw that there was more requests for the hobby work that we were doing with video production. And we sort of levied that against, our day jobs. And we decided to quit cold turkey our jobs and take a risk on being, full-time entrepreneurs. And it's been 5 years now. So it's been a great journey with that.
So I'm hearing from the two of you, as well as from Simon, that it's about networking, it's about leveraging resources because you don't own the resources necessarily, and relationships are important.
Yeah.
Any of our other entrepreneurs? Jukara?
Yes. So yeah, of course, it's very complicated when we don't have money, But in specific in Rio de Janeiro, there are institutions that support low-income entrepreneurs, and it's free. One of them is the Dom Institute, which teach entrepreneur how to start a business the right way, and I learned a lot from them. One of the things that I learned, it was financial management. That's very important to have that, because at school you don't learn that, it's complicated, but I learned a lot in the Dom Institute. And there is another organization in Brazil that's called Sebrae. That's for free as well. And they offer service for entrepreneurs who are just starting out. So it's one of the organization as the institutions that I decided to get in to learn more about things about that stuff.
Okay. Thank you, Jakara.
You're welcome.
Evans?
Yeah, for my case, of course, money is not always enough if you want to begin something. But for me in 2020, during the COVID-19, I mobilized my fellow youth. We started a club, the so-called investment club, but we could as well make savings. So it helped me so much when I was materializing my ideas. For start, I didn't use much money, but of course, even the little I used, I got from the saved money of my fellow people I started the club with. And from then, the savings have been accumulating, and you reach at a point where you can get more money and expand even the business you already started with a little money. Thank you.
Okay. And LaQuisha, what about starting something when you don't have much?
I agree with the first gentleman when he said having hope and vision. So you have to have a vision. And then, of course, for me, I got involved in every entrepreneur program that was available and affordable. I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, we say, money could be the biggest issue, but sometimes it's understanding the language when you enter into the rooms, because depending on your frame of reference or depending on your level of communication and understanding, especially coming from poverty, you get in those settings, but you don't always understand what's been told or what's been taught to you. So I would say, leveraging, of course, Notre Dame Boot Camp, like your organization has been great. It's still a great resource. So thank you. And just, walking into those uncomfortable spaces and networking and trying to understand and reaching out to people who maybe understand the language to kind of help you get to that next place.
LaQuisha, it's so interesting you say that, because we have invited a number of the entrepreneurs to go through the training a second time. And how many of them say the second time through, I learned more than I did the first time. It just the time it takes to. When I'm going to stay with you for a minute, LaQuisha. When I am trying to start a business, and my friend Lavoyo Rani, who's with us today, and is himself a very successful entrepreneur, he will argue that networking and relationships are more important than money. And how do you do that? How do you build a network with the kind of people that can help you, can open doors for you, can connect you to other people when you come from that poverty experience and you don't start off with that network?
No. So you get involved with what's going on in the community. And to be honest, I agree. Sometimes it's who you know. And for me, I knew a person who knew about a program, and that's how I got into that door. And a lot of times it is a disadvantage if you don't know where to start and who to connect with. So that's not everybody's, success story, I guess I should say. But I think once a person like me, once you walk in those doors and you get that information, I feel like it's my duty and responsibility now to share the good news, or to share about Notre Dame Boot Camp, or to share about these other things. So now we who've come from these adverse situations have to be those people that they need. We need to be the connectors now. So I think it's a duty and a responsibility for those who come from poverty, once they make it to a certain place, to become that connector, because the advantage we have is we're in the settings where what you would probably say wealth, and wealth can be defined by whatever you believe wealth is, but you also come from an adverse situation or poverty or hardships. So you can reach both of those sectors or both of those places and begin to connect people. So now we have to be the connector. But in the beginning, sometimes it is who you know. Sometimes it's about doing research. And a lot of times you don't know how to research. So I would just say keep sharing, keep putting it all over social media. That's one of the things I use my free social media platforms. And I started cooking tutorials live and doing how-to videos to just try to get my name out there, just pushing and pushing. So, but now, I think it's our responsibility to be those connectors, to be those people for those who come or maybe still are trying to grow their business.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jakara, how have you built your network?
Yeah, so about the network, it's essential for business success. And for me, I started to have my networking in 2016. The first one was an American guy that he used to live here in Rocinha. He was a tour guide and he was looking for a guide. So I took the opportunity. And during my tour guide class, I had another network opportunity with a French guy. And he was looking for a local guide as well. So I was looking for more professional knowledge, so I catch the opportunity. And he also motivated his client to recommend me, and now I have a trusting relationship with also my clients, and they themselves make recommendation for my tours. So it's very interesting. It's very important to have networking. There are sometimes we won't have like help for our family or things like that, because I received support for expanding my business only from people from outside my circle, my family and friends close by me, they didn't support very well. So it was only for myself, only people outside my circle.
Yeah, people outside your circle, it would seem to be is the critical leap, the connection. Simon, can you talk a little bit about the importance of a network and how, maybe for a lot of these entrepreneurs, that's networking isn't a natural skill. There might be more intimidated, more introverted, more whatever. Can you talk a little bit about your experiences?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Morris. Networking to me, it's gold. To me, networking is a gateway to opportunities. But how do we get to a networking, environment? The first thing that one has to do is to get out of your comfort zone and then get out of being an introvert and then start talking to people, because with being in your comfort zone, it will be very difficult for you to talk to strangers, people that you don't know. So that's what I did. Actually, the foundation that I'm in, the Saludo Foundation, they exposed us to different types of network. And then out of those networks, we managed to seize opportunities. We managed to get clients. We managed to access information that we never had. So, these informations are there. We wanted just to do the research and then be active and then be seen and then go to people and talk. So most of the business that we have is through network and people that we never knew that they could assist us and so forth. And it is very important to network, because that's where most of the collaborations are made. That's where most of the business deals are made. So yeah, just talk and be vulnerable. Tell people your story. Don't be shy of your sad disadvantaged background story. Everybody's got a story. So yeah, through those networks, we manage to talk about our stories and people listen, and then, people get together and then we grow businesses. Upscaling, that's one of the things that I found, that through networks, it's easy because people know other people that can assist on the problems that one is experiencing. So one has to be vulnerable and be able to talk and be there, be naked in front of everybody, then you get assistance. So to me, you need to network.
Okay. Thank you. And I believe Yashadhara is with us, but registered as Swanchi Chan. Yashadhara, can you hear me?
Yashodhara, can you speak, please?
You have to unmute, Yashuhara. I'm so sorry you have to appear Swansea, but if you unmute, then they can hear you.
Hello.
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 Hello, Yashadhara. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you.
Could you tell us a little bit about your business and the journey that you've had?
I'm Yashodhara. Basically, my intention is to become an entrepreneur. So I started my journey starting with handmade soaps, natural soaps, and chemical-free products. I wanted to. Initially, I have faced so many challenges because of branding. I didn't have any brand like that. So I've started to giving my products to neighbors, friends. They've tested and they've got very good results. So I've started my journey like this. So with their encourage, I've started like around 50 varieties of natural handmade products I'll do. Now I have increased my range to all natural products to 200 varieties of cosmetic products, healthy products like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
So one of the big issues that we see a lot of, and I would love to learn of your experiences with this, but has to do with financial literacy and how you come to understand the basics of bookkeeping and making sense of the numbers and understanding profit and where profit's coming from and what's not profitable. Could each of you talk a little bit about how you've come to become more aware of the numbers and what they mean? Perhaps we could start with Simon.
Oh yeah, financial literacy to me, it's one of the critical things that one has to learn early in business. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. You don't know your numbers, you don't know which decisions you need to take and when do you have to take those decisions. Numbers guides you in terms of making decisions and then sound and informed decision. So it's unfortunate that with me, I had to learn the numbers very late in business. I've been running business, but with not understanding the numbers. But through the foundation, Cellular Foundation, we were exposed to a program called EO, which is Entrepreneurship Organization. It's a global program. Every month there, we discuss numbers. We dissect them into revenue, into gross profit, into net profit. So as we can see where the business is, and then to see where our challenges is, where our problems are. And then with that, it has also taught me to be able to see the big revenue drivers that we have in our business and the slow revenue drivers that we don't actually need to be doing because we're wasting time on things that are not giving us money. But before that, before I started with this financial literacy thing, I didn't know anything. The cost of sales. One has to understand the cost of sales because you need to start minimizing the amount of money that you're spending on your cost of sales. And then why don't you run sales that are not costly? And I'll make an example. With landscaping, we've got tree felling aspect, and then we've got the landscaping aspect. Now with the tree felling, we found that it's one of our biggest revenue driver in a sense that our cost of sales are less. We're only paying labor, the machinery hours, the vehicles are ours, so it's only labor cost, and then it's a risky job with more money in terms of pricing or quotations. So only because of now understanding the figures, now I know this is something that we need to pursue more because it brings us more money and within a short space of time, and having spent less costs to be able to make those sales. Yes, landscaping, we love it. We've been doing it for years, but is this something that we really want to pursue going forward now? The answer is we need to think twice. So yeah, so numbers are very critical, and one has to know the numbers very well, and it is very important to start understanding the numbers very early in your career of being an entrepreneur, because that's where the decisions are made.
Yeah, that's so interesting because I understand your message, but you're also saying that some of what brought you along on this journey of financial literacy was your exposure to other entrepreneurs and
Yes.
through the EO organization, and that those conversations reinforced this is important. I need to understand this. What's important about it? LaQuisha, what about the numbers?
For me, it was trial and error. So I had to make a lot of mistakes, and I also had to bring an accountant on board to help me. And to be honest with you, I had to just to learn the numbers about business, I had to learn the numbers about my home first. And so the way I managed my home and I had to get that organized is the way that I had to manage my business in regards to expenses and income, and it's even right now, as we're getting ready to bring on employees, because we're expanding and growing so fast. A lot of people have employees already. We've been a very small but mighty organization. And bringing that's a new language. I keep going back to the language. That's a new language for me. And so I have to put myself in settings with people who know the language. So like I said, we have an accountant who helps us with all of that and creating customized spreadsheets, because there's so many different programs that we're doing and figuring out, what needs to be paid here, how are we growing here, those sorts of things. So it's all trial and error. So it will take a few times to get it right, but I've learned not to beat myself up about it.
Yeah, but LaQuisha, it's interesting listening to what you're saying. I'm wondering, as you started to become more comfortable with the numbers and can talk a little bit more of that language, does that also help in the networking?
It does. I mean, when I'm in the networking setting, I feel a little bit more confident about who I'm talking to. And if I do have an ask, if I want to be connected to somebody, if I want to, have a meeting with someone and someone wants to introduce me to someone, regarding me asking for something or a partnership or a product, I feel more comfortable now that I understand the language.
And,
yes.
Thank you. And Andrew and Lisette, how are you with the numbers?
In the beginning, the numbers, well, let me go back a little bit.
I see
in
Andrew
the same
smiling.
year we started our in the same year we started our business, we had our son in the same year. And so really the first 2 years of the business was really all Andrew taking on not only the work, but the numbers as well. And unfortunately, that's something that kind of fell through the cracks and really didn't get done properly or on time, that kind of thing. So when I stepped back in early 2021, I want to say, I looked at everything that we have been doing, the previous systems that we were using, and I did an overhaul. And I just said, let's start over. And so at the same time, I happened to find an ad online about an adult school in Poway, California, which is a town in San Diego County. And they were hosting QuickBooks classes. And so I took a class on how to learn to use QuickBooks. And then my teacher from there encouraged me to take regular accounting classes to understand it on the basic levels of accounting, not just on a computer and plugging in numbers. just really understanding accounting and debits and credits and all that kind of thing. So for us now, fast forward to today, I am the finances of the business and, making sure we are paid and paid on time and construct the contracts and speak with potential clients about projects and the cost of that. And Andrew and I have also I forget the word, but we have an understanding of how much time it takes to put a video together or how much production time we charge or that kind of thing. I forget the word. Do you remember the word?
Quantify?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So now we have a system and numbers to really, I could just plug in a number and the QuickBooks will do the math for me on an estimate, for example. So we're not sitting down spending an hour of like, how much do we charge this person? It's like, we've already figured that out and I could just plug it in QuickBooks and they can do the math for me. So it's quite essential. Simon, I believe is what his name was, Simon, and definitely knowing your numbers and understanding what they mean is essential of operating your business in general.
Thank you. And Yashadhara, how have you come to master or understand the numbers?
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Yashuhara, we can hear you, so please continue.
Samuel, sir. Hello.
Okay, I think she needs a translation. I'll just Yashura, can you hear
Sir.
me? Okay. So the question is, how are you taking care of your books? How are you handling your budget, the funds?
I land myself.
Okay.
But I'll keep the record of every customer, how they'll order daily. On daily basis we will do the budget and all.
Okay.
And
Are you using any app or any digital method?
right now I am not using, sir. I am using books only.
Okay, so to answer to the question, she works on conventional method of writing in notes and also doing the bookkeeping, and she calculates on a day-to-day basis, and then she keeps her profits and loss on a day-to-day figure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jukara, if you don't mind me asking you this question, what's different about the entrepreneurs that are with us today is the progress they've made, the success they've achieved. But one of our audience members asked the question, and I'm hoping each of you might share your own experience. But today, if we look at right now, given that you've built a foundation, what's the biggest challenge that you face in your business?
Hi. Sorry. What's the question? What's the biggest mistake I made when I started my business?
Well, now I was
No?
asking, Jukar, I'm asking, given where you've built the business, how you've established a foundation, what's the biggest challenge you face today?
Today, I think it's like I didn't used to have my target audience, you know. I'm still thinking about that because, as I was mentioned before, 99% of my clients came from Brazil, came outside Brazil, you know. And but there are sometimes I do tour with people that speak Portuguese, Spanish, English, you know. So it's a little bit complicated for me. So at this year, I'm thinking about that target audience. I need to check which people I need to provide my experience. So it's one of the trouble that I still have.
So it has to do with the market, how you segment the market, who you're targeting in terms of customers.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And digital media as well, you
And how
know.
you use
Yeah, because
digital
I
media.
didn't used to post so much things on media, Instagram or things like that. And it's very important, you know, because there are a lot of competition around. So it's good to show, you know, like videos and photos, even the reviews of my clients. I like to post nowadays over there. So it's very good for the new client to see if it's good for them to book or not.
Okay.
So
And so the challenge of getting not just posting on social media, but ensuring you're reaching the audience that you want to reach.
yes.
Okay. And Evans, what is the single biggest challenge you face today in your business? I know Evans was having some communication challenges.
Yes, he might have dropped off, but he comes back on and off because he does
Okay.
have some issue with his
Well,
connection.
let's go to Simon. Simon, what's the biggest challenge you face?
Currently, the challenge that we're facing is upscaling. We've been running this business for quite some time, and then we're at the point now where we need to now reach the skies. With us trying to do that, we're struggling a bit, but through the assistance we get from the foundation, we slowly getting things better and together. And I do think the private sector, businesses, and the government can do more in terms of assisting the disadvantaged communities in terms of how to upscale their businesses. Because when we have to upscale, one gets stuck at a certain point because now you need to have more resources, you need to have access to bigger clients that can have trust in you. But now if you don't have the resources, they don't believe that you can deliver. So with more support, we'll be able to deal with the challenges of upscaling. And I guess upscaling is the answer to creating more employment and alleviating poverty. So I still believe that our governments needs to do more, the private sector needs to do more. We need more of the foundations like the Sululo. They're doing a great work. We are their products, and there's more work that they're doing that is changing lives. And I believe that if we can have more of that kind of support, mentoring, access to funding, those are the challenges that I think each and every entrepreneur is facing. So yeah, they're quite huge, but yeah, I think with more support going forward, yeah, that will make life a bit easier. So that's what I'm struggling with upscaling at the moment. But Silulo is taking me by hand to making sure that we get there.
So the growth issue, yeah. I think Evans is back with us. Evans, what is the single biggest challenge you face today in your business? Don't see Evans, so maybe he's not back with us.
No,
Uh,
he is.
Evans?
I think sorry, Mike. I think because of the network, sometimes he can be on, but he's not able. Like when he speaks, you can't hear him.
Okay. Okay.
But having participated through the program, and I've shared with him some of the challenges. Given that he's into agriculture, I would imagine the biggest challenge that being agriculture is seasonal fluctuations of prices, and then post-harvest management, and also the quality of inputs. There's a little unregulated inputs that it could use. It could use, for example, spend money on buying pesticides, and you find that they are not effective as you have been advised. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jeffrey. Yashidhara, what is the biggest challenge you face? I know you have a lot of products now.
I face sometimes I face labor problems, and competing with brands. Uh, s- and because of very good quality, people will come back. Before that, they'll ask which is the brand, like that. So after using the product, because of quality, they'll come back. Biggest challenge is the main problem is competing with brands.
So you're selling personal care products, soaps, lotions.
Sir.
You're now faced with competition from big, well-known, established brands, and so
Sir. Because they'll come up with advertisements, lots of advertisement. Brand ambassadors will be there. I won't be having. I can't advertise like that.
so struggles with building your own brand and maintaining that brand's visibility in the marketplace.
Uh,
And with Condor, what's the strategic challenge, the big issue that you're most wrestling with?
Yeah, well, I think Simon hit it on the head there with just being at a level of not stagnant, but it's Lisette and I doing a lot of the work, and if we have a vision of growing and expanding and having employees that can alleviate some of the
Workload.
extra workload that we're taking on, then that would help with also completing projects in a timely manner and just progressing our efficiency. So that has been a struggle. We know how much money we can obtain in 1 year. And that's enough for Lisette and I to continue running our operations. But how do we grow? What does that look like? How do we push harder to, have like a retainer with a client, right? And so getting that income to bring on employees, but not having the income now to do that, right?
Right.
And did you want to add to
that? Just adding that, along with that, obtaining more jobs, of course, to, times 2 or times 3 our workload, and again, bringing on somebody or somebody's, and hopefully, and it's a specialty skill that we're looking for, people that can edit or social media or production work. So it's a little more of a challenge for us because time to train them as well is also time needed to finish something. So that's the additional challenge of finding those skilled folks that know those things as well.
So thank you. And LaQuisha, yours is a business like Andrew and Lisette, like Cat Lego, where you're not reselling to the same customer all the time. You're having to start a new job every time with a new client. I'm sure you have some repeat clients, but you've accomplished so much. But what's the big challenge that you face? That maybe the thing that keeps you up at night, or
Yeah. So when you are catering to catering, it's kind of like living paycheck to paycheck. And so right now, I love the idea of, business to business, but I also love the idea of business to government. And so that's kind of what we're getting ready to do as we launch our culinary school. So we're in the process of hiring, but we're also in the process of building an accredited school, which is extremely challenging. I do have some great people on my team that's helping me launch that, and hopefully we'll get started in January. So with that comes business to government, and that will kind of create some sustainable, income and business that will just keep going, opposed to working catering to catering, because it reminds me of paycheck to paycheck.
Okay, thank you. And we're coming to the end, but I wonder if you would share with us, one of the challenges I think for these businesses, especially before they achieve success, is the kind of support they need from the local community, the kind of support they need from the the so-called entrepreneurial ecosystem in their community. Could you talk a little bit, and maybe it's easier to find some of those things once you're more successful, but when you're coming up, when you're building the business, what's the single biggest thing that the community or the local government, the local ecosystem could do to better support businesses like yours?
Listen and have empathy.
What are they not listening to? What don't they hear that you want them to hear?
I think they should hear the diversity in it. So we're all different people from different walks of life. And so our starting point will not always be the same. I've sat in many rooms where they talk about, you know, you got to have this much money or capital and things like that. But you have to listen to the story, see the body of work that that individual has done in the community without the funding, and think, if I really invested in this, or if I would, you know, listen to their story and see how I can help, how much further could they grow? So I think, again, listening, having a listening ear and having empathy, because I've had people and, you know, I've pitched my idea and people have shut it down based on their biases. So that's
okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Simon, what? Go ahead.
So for me, I think that's very crucial to provide access to financial education, okay? Practical training in accessible way, interpersonal and leadership skills development, psychological, that's very important for us, and emotional support, you know, because people that live in a poor area, there are sometimes that we don't have support. So we need to have a person to do that for us. We need help, you know? Yeah. And because there are sometimes that our challenge, it's like do it to the fear of fail, you know? And financial stress. So I think that psychological and emotional support, it's the best way for us. That is it.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting.
We need to have that.
Psychological and emotional support. Simon, what's needed?
I think it has to start with us entrepreneurs. Before we go seek assistance, we need to organize ourselves first so as we can be heard when we speak. If we disorganize, nobody's going to listen to us. So I think especially the townships, the business are more informal and so forth. Nobody wants to listen to one or two people. But if you come as one voice, an organized voice, the government will listen and they'll do something about it. So as entrepreneurs, we are there to give solutions and to change this world. So we need to change the way we think and the way we do things, and we need to be formalized and to be respected. People respect something that is formal, something they want to associate themselves with formality, not something that is disorganized. So once we can get that right, we'll have a voice that will be able to open doors to any platform, whether it's government, whether it's big businesses. People will start listening. And then if we, as business people, we show them that we are the solution to the world's problem by providing the answers of whatever issues that we have, then they'll start giving us support. So I think 80 to 90% of us seeking support, we need to organize ourselves first. Then we'll get all the support that we require.
So it's not just about your individual voice, but your collective voice, your shared voice.
Yeah, shared voice is better than individual. Two heads are better than one.
Okay.
Yeah, so
and
I think it starts there.
Yashadhara, what do you think is the most needed thing?
It's structures. We need to have structures where we discuss these issues.
No,
we need to have structures.
Mm-hmm. I understand what you're saying. I was asking Yashahara if she would share what she sees as the biggest need.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Organizing ourselves is the main thing, sir. Preparing for the worst. That is the thing. we can do.
Preparing for the worst.
Huh.
I guess because you're more vulnerable in terms of the worst. That makes sense.
And yeah.
Evans, are you with us? Andrew and Lisette, what's needed the most? How could this community, the ecosystem support you better?
Well, I'm trying to figure that question out still, but you know, I'm not sure.
I think a lot of folks said a lot of different things that were excellent. You know, us being in the Native communities, and they have additional struggles that the non-Native folks maybe don't even realize or think about. And I think a part of what we want to do is not just, you know, tell everybody about Native people, but you know, that they're just like regular people like everyone else, and but they have the same challenges that everyone else has. And I think amplifying not just ourselves, but like other local community organizations. There's a lot of nonprofits in the community, and a lot of youth, and that lack exposure to a lot of things that a lot of people think that a lot of people take for granted. And it's as simple as going to the ocean is something that is a challenge in the community. Transportation, again, food insecurities and whatnot. And I think collectively, if a lot of organizations, you know, get together and realize that, then I think everybody can be successful together.
Well, thank you. Thank all of you. There is one more question I'm going to try to squeeze in. I think LaQuisha has to leave us, but there's a question from the audience asking about artificial intelligence. Are any of you using artificial intelligence in your business from a technology standpoint?
I like to use GPT. Do you know that? It's very nice, because if you don't have an idea, you can have a support from there. So it's very good. So GPT, I like to use that.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Well, I wanted to go ahead.
This is Andrew. So it's a complicated thing. We've used AI, and folks have been using AI for a while if they haven't realized it, with different things on their phones. But with us, it's sorry, it's hard to hear. But with us, it's utilizing AI for captioning, for transcriptions, for videos. But however, because we have a diverse array of languages here, tribal languages in San Diego, the AI doesn't understand that. So that's where my skill set comes in, where I'm able to type those out correctly and to have proper representation. So it's a good mix of things. Yeah, it saves time, but you still also have to have your soul element into that, right? But it does save time.
Not much soul in AI, huh?
No, it never will.
Well, we're at time. I just so appreciate each of you taking the time to share your journey, to share your experiences, to let us travel with you on some of your journey. So a big thank you to all of our entrepreneurs, and best wishes as you move forward with your ventures. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jukara.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao. Bye-bye.